All right, I guess I'll talk a little bit about learning about when I had MS. I want to say the first sign was probably 3 or 4 years ago. I was out hiking, and it was towards the end of the year, and my left foot kind of was dragging, and I was just like, didn't do a lot of hiking this year. Just weak, I'll do some strengthening exercises over the winter and I'll be all right. I didn't really feel anything over the winter, anything that I remember. I want to say maybe a year after that, I was playing the guitar, and whenever I would go up towards the high string, up the fretboard, the high frets, I would, when I would look down, I'd feel like this electric zing go through my arm and come up into I think if I remember right, it was this finger, the ring finger. And I was just kind of like, oh, that's weird. And, I would do it, and then, it would happen for a day. Now and then, it wasn't a really strong jolt, just enough to really notice. And, what was I going to say? It would go away, then it would come back a few months later, feel that zing, and then I'd feel the leg dragging every now and then. And then was it 2024, in the spring, I did a lot of hiking. Didn't really notice anything. I noticed that as temperature would go back a little bit, I would notice that around the time where I was feeling that jolt, anytime if I was indoors in the summer, I would need the AC really cold. The heat was not doing as well in the heat as I used to do, and I just thought, oh, I'm getting older, so it's probably just that. And what was it? Okay, so back to the hand. And so last spring I did a lot of spring of 2024, I did a lot of hiking, and then as summer came, I noticed that the heat was really bothering me, and I'd go out hiking, I'd go get a couple miles, and then when I'd turn around, as soon as I would turn around, kind of on the way back, pretty fast, I'd noticed that my left leg was getting really almost heavy and dragging, and I would get back to my car, and I'd get in the car and just be like, geez, I'm really tired. My heart's not beating that fast, but I was like, there's something wrong with my heart. For a long time I thought there was something wrong with my heart. And I think also during this last 2 or 3 years, I was noticing that just getting a lot more angry about things than I had before. And just, I don't know, kind of turning into a troll, online, offline, everywhere, And I ended up leaving my job in the spring of 2024, and I was checking out other jobs and noticed, this leg thing, and I was affecting me really quick, within a mile, within even shorter distances than that. And I just got really depressed because I was I got a good job, hired for a good job that I never started because I was like, this is, how am I going to do this job? I've always done jobs where I'm running around, and the job that I quit in 2024, I was walking 12,000 steps a day, 12-hour job, 3 or 4 days a week, and I was making, in a day I would do 12,000 steps. So, I was thinking, how can I do this job? I need some more music here. I've been listening to Discarnate. Why not? We'll keep it with that. Turn it down a little bit for this song. But, alright, so then in late summer, early fall, I got super depressed, wound up getting some help, wound up getting on Medicaid, and seeing the doctor and telling the doctor what had happened. She told me, we're going to figure out what's wrong with you. And eventually ended up getting some MRIs. And like the whole time I'm just thinking, this is just probably a pinched nerve, whatever. But I had done some research about like the zinging in my arm, so I kind of noticed it could be MS. So I was kind of like, that's kind of, hope it's not that. But, so got some MRIs. The first MRI, which was thoracic. What is it called? I don't know. All these terms, I've never really had much wrong with me, and all these medical terms now are just messing with my head. So, MRI comes back, it's the impression, which for those who don't know, it's just kind of like a tech kind of looks at it, looks at the MRI, kind of sums up what they find, and it's in there that the lesions they found on my, I want to say cortex, but it's not cortex, brainstem, looked like it was MS. So I got more MRIs, the brain, the full brain, and the spine, and there was more lesions found. And so then figured out it was MS, got officially diagnosed in June of 2025. And now I'm just trying to live with it. I had to move out of my apartment, moved in with my sister, luckily enough. She had someplace for me to go. I've got more area than I did where I was living before. Now what's really affecting me is the fatigue, which I noticed back then too, but I figured it was just because it had something to do with my leg, or I thought it was my heart originally when I was hiking. And but the fatigue is the worst, because the best way to explain it is like this: the left half of my body, it's like when I move it, and then there's different levels. It'll kind of come back as being stronger or lower, and it seems like sleep is really important. I mean, the more sleep I get, more quality sleep I get, the better I feel, all around, mentally, physically, everything. But like, so during the fatigue and just now the tingling, I want to say back in early 2025, maybe around January, I began to notice a lot more tingling throughout the whole arm, my hand. Sometimes the whole arm. Best way to describe it is kind of like, how a part of your body will fall asleep. You get the tingling like the needles. It's like that, but like every now and then, and like through like January to March, every now and then, like the entire arm would feel like it was just asleep and just really heavy and just almost. It was not almost, but like painful, but painful in a weird way, where like almost someone was like, had their hands on my arm and were trying to pull it down, like lifting it up would just bring more pain. And going back to the fatigue, I'm all over the place. This YouTube is weird. I feel like that old movie, The King of New York, with Robert De Niro, where he's the comedian. He's got the mural of the audience behind him, and he's talking to it like whatever. But all right, more music. Where are we going here? All right. But yeah, the fatigue. And what I was saying, the left half of my body, it's like you're trying to move it through water or like molasses, or when it gets really bad, it's like, I know I was watching something on TV, like maybe very early, like earlier this year, and like it surprised me or something. I brought my hands up, and when I brought my hands up, I noticed that like this hand was, was like trying to bring it up through water is the best way to explain it. Like there's resistance, and especially with the leg. Like now I can get like, I've got this smartwatch so I can like check my steps and everything, and I want to say after like 500 steps or somewhere right around there, it gets really bad where I just am constant, it's like I almost can't walk. It's like most of the strength and everything comes from the right leg. But like, to go back to the fatigue, like I said, I'm all over the place. But like the fatigue, it's hard to describe. It's like, I mean, as I'm sitting, if I'm sitting and doing like nothing, watching TV, like the MS doesn't really bother me that much, for now. I mean, I've got these lesions in my brain and spine and brain stem, so it's like, I'm scared that like, it's gonna affect how I think, memory, everything, you know, problem solve. And you know, of course, I'm also scared about like what's gonna happen to physically too. Especially, I mean, I can feel it in my hand, and I always love to play the guitar. It's like, how long do I have? And like even now, I've noticed that like I can't play as fast. It's like the motor skill is gone a little bit, tiny bit, and like when it's really bad, it's like I can't even pick up the guitar. Like when I was getting like that whole numbness in my arm, I'd pick up the guitar and like, I mean, I could barely pick it up with this arm because it hurt so bad. And I remember I wanted to see what would happen with the guitar when my arm and hand were feeling that bad. And it was, I couldn't even make power chords or anything. I'd tell my fingers to do one thing and they were just, you know, it was impossible. But I haven't had my arm do that in quite a while now. And when I say quite a while, I mean probably last March maybe was the latest. Got really, really bad. I mean, there's been some times where I get like a little tingle now, but like the tingling in my hand is always there at some degree. Usually it's just a tiny bit, but it always feels like it's coming out of sleep. But back to the fatigue again. It's not like you're like it's more like there's this great weight that I'll move around for just a little bit. I'll go up the stairs, and like the stairs, I mean, I don't dare not use a rail, hand on the rail climbing up, because there's only fallen like, I want to say maybe once or twice. Once really good, and been a lot of close calls where now I've got like a lot. If I'm walking, I make sure there's something around me that I can grab in case I do slip or something. But the fatigue, it's like this heavy weight gets pulled on you. And like especially during the summer, if I went outside, I learned my lesson from this after longer than I should have. But if I went outside and like walked around, walked the dog or something, once I got back to the house, I mean, the fatigue was very severe, and I mean, it would even last through the night, through the next day. That heat, the effect on the fatigue would just sit with me for, you know, almost a whole another day, even after I woke up. Where I remember when August came around, I was just like, if it's hot out, I ain't going outside. And if I am, I'm going outside for a short minute. And usually we try to do it in the morning to try to get a little bit of sun. Because when you have MS, you know, you deal with a lot of vitamin D issues. And, yeah. So, I don't know, this is getting kind of long, but I'll just say, finally saw a neurologist when I was officially diagnosed in June, and then was put on a DMT. I'm now on Kesimpta, which is like an injection, injected into your stomach or at the top of your leg. I've been doing it in my stomach, and like it's just this pen, kind of like an EpiPen. I think I'm assuming it works the same way as an EpiPen. but you just kind of push it into your skin, and it makes a clicking sound, and then you watch this like green little, I don't know, this green thing goes down, and once it goes down it clicks again. Then you're supposed to wait a couple seconds, and then you can take it out and you're all good. Throw it away in the needle or injection dispensary thing, and yeah. And so that's not, so the Kesimpta fights the B cells in the body, which the B cells attack the lesions. They think the lesions, instead of trying to repair it, for some reason, the B cells attack it, the lesions in MS. And so it's 3 songs already on it. Testament, Seek and Destroy, Metallica cover. Interesting. Alright, why not? So yeah, but the Kesimpta doesn't really... Remember when I saw the neurologist, he said, the symptoms you have, they're there. They're not going away. He's like, the DMT, the Kesimpta, should hopefully keep the lesions from getting larger and my symptoms getting worse. So people with MS who are watching probably know all this, blah blah blah. But yeah, to those not, that's what happens. And I haven't really had any side effects. The first couple times I took it, felt kind of nauseous for a little bit. I will say, for like 24 hours, the first 24 hours after taking it, like it get really tired. But yeah, that's about it. I'll talk more about it later. I'm sure I've left out a lot. Yeah, I think I'm going to try to do 1 MS video a week, and then 1 video about music, but I don't know. That'd be cool. That'd be the plan. Kind of something to plan to do now without working or anything. It's kind of like, it gets kind of drawl. So yeah, bye.